So let me just give you a brief history of like how I got into the stick. Okay, so you guys know that long ago with Shifu Weekly and Master Wong and all that, we were in the Kung Fu era of forms and weaponing. You know, there's a lot to it, right? And being sort of young and being impressionable, you know, when the master gives you a sword and shows you what to do, you do it. When he gives you a long staff or gives you a weapon, you just do it. You don't question, you just do it. And what I realize now that I didn't realize then is that what I was being taught was forms. I was being taught techniques. And sometimes there were explanations behind these techniques, but these explanations were, you know, not coming from experts who practiced and really knew the ins and outs of these techniques. But it was the best we had. So what do? You make the best of that information that you can. You explore, you experiment. Sometimes you come up with solutions on your own. Sometimes you come up with questions and you ask and you work it out with your partners and you come up with some amazing things. That's probably, for me, the most amazing and interesting part of martial arts and why I do it. Because nobody has all the answers, right? And there are answers within yourself if you just explore and you just try. And when something comes out, all of a sudden it's like, wow, this works for me. That's an amazing thing, you know? I remember, I'm digressing a little bit, but I remember I just did this thing like this one day, right? I just did this thing like this, right? And I just figured it out on my own. I was like, you know what? You know, when you stand here and you throw a punch, I could move really fast like that. I could move really fast like that, right? Faster than I could if I was just standing here like this. And I tested it and I tried it and I had people throwing punches at me and I went up to the Grandmaster. I said, Master Wong, can I show you something, right? I want to ask you about this. It's like, I found out that when I kick this foot out and I drop and I step, I can move really fast. And he said something that basically was like, that's no good. And forget it. And of course, I was young and I was impressionable and I was like, yes sir, yes sir, yes sir, forget all that. And then I walked out of there thinking, oh boy, you know, I know it works. I know there's truth to it. I see it in fighting. And just to say, forget about it instead of, interesting. Keep it going and let me know what happens. You know what I'm saying? I learned that I was on a different trajectory. I knew that I wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid like I used to, right? So, long story. I can't make the long story short. The long story's got to be long. So, Kung Fu. I'm teaching kids. I'm doing Jiu-Jitsu. I'm doing MMA. COVID hit. And I remember I was sitting on the couch and my wife is there and I'm watching the news and the bodies are dropping in Italy. And they're putting them in ice rinks. The government shut down. Everything shut down. I was just like, poof. I looked at my wife and I said, I'm done. That's it. Martial arts schools are over. No more. And I was like, you know, I mean, how can we come back from that? Well, as you know, things started to come back. But people were reluctant to touch one another or even get close. Remember that? You guys remember when that was?
Well, yes and no, because we always do.
Well, you guys always did. You guys were outside. You really...
We were outside.
You took it the whole 1,800 yards. But you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
I was challenged with like the whole school and trying to figure out how to make it work for everyone, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, my immediate challenge was kids and Kung Fu. I had a lot of kids. And so what the heck am I going to do? I mean, we're always touching, we're doing two-person sets, we're grabbing, we're punching, we're doing all kinds of things. I said to myself, let's use weapons. Weapons at least keeps us far apart. And I know some things, My teacher taught me some things. I know forms, because I couldn't just keep doing forms. We had to do something. There had to be a connection. There had to be a touch. There had to be drills, and there had to be ways of having little challenges, and I only knew so much. So I went to Aaron Seligson, the Army's instructor who teaches here on Thursday nights, and I said, Aaron, can you give me some ideas? And he gave me some ideas. And they were amazing ideas. And so I took his ideas of, with this, and I use them with this. This is the Chinese short staff. Have you guys learned any Chinese short staff? Yeah. It's a stick. It's just a little longer. And the kids were loving it. Everything was great. We're clang. There's noise, there's activity, there's touching. Things are going well. The kids are, everything is going well. And so I realized, I'm running out of information. I'm running out of knowledge. I need more. So I go back to Aaron. I'm like, Aaron, I need some more knowledge. He's like, well, let's come to class. Right? Well, let's go to class. Right? So I go to class. And I learned a lot of cool stuff. I was like, you know what? I'm set for probably the next 6 months. But I was mostly hooked, but not completely hooked. And then there was a man in there that gave me the stick. And I figured, you know what? And he gave me 2 of them. Pass that over. It's a fiberglass stick. He gave me a fiberglass stick. And it was that psychological principle of reciprocation, where he gave me these sticks, and they were fancy sticks. They're expensive. You can't just go out and buy those. Like try buying fiberglass sticks, right? They're not easy to find. So I felt an obligation almost to go back to class, and I did. And I'm glad that I did. So it was that combination of knowledge, reciprocation, and the new that got me into Arnis, stick fighting. And so Aaron's class was only 1 day a week. And I was hungry. I wanted more knowledge. I wanted more information. And I realized, too, that, I didn't really realize, but I'm like, you know what? Who else out there teaches stick fighting? And I did some research, and I found a full contact champion, an expert. This guy that fought hundreds of times. He's this decorated, high-ranking dog brother. That's a term for this organization, who lived in Colombia. So I called him up, and he came on down, and we got to talking, and I'm like, you want to teach? Sure. And he started teaching. So that was about 2.5 years ago, and just recently he left. He had to go. So I've been training with him 2 to 3 times a week for 2.5 years. And some of what I learned during then is what I want to show you guys today. All right? So that's my story. I learned. So I am a student basically of 2 masters, right? 2 teachers. Aaron Seligson on Thursdays, and Guru Beowulf on 2 to 3 times a week, right? And so my allegiance and my heart was in both places. But eventually, my heart went to the dog lovers. And there was reasons for that. 1, I had more exposure, more knowledge. I just had a lot more information, right? And 2, the dog brothers mentality is, if it's taught, it's fought. Which means, if it's bullshit, it's not going to work, we're not going to teach it, and we're going to demonstrate these techniques in combat. And when they say combat, they mean, you wear these gloves right here, and you wear that, and you wear a groin protector, and you go for it with real sticks. And you go for it. And that means you hit as hard as you can with sticks, some people fight with stuff like this. But, mainly sticks like that, right? And some people might wear an elbow pad here and there, whatever, they go for it. And I really admire that, because that meant, okay, now I don't just have to do Arnis. I can do jiu-jitsu, I can do judo, I can do wrestling, I can do kung fu, I can do kickboxing, I can do MMA, I can do all of that, and that's cool. You see why that appealed to me? So let's get into some of like the epiphanies that I had in dog brother stick fighting. All right. One of the first things I learned. Why don't you guys grab a stick? All right. Grab a stick from over here. These are your typical Arnie sticks. A big one might appeal to a little big guy. You know, a lighter one might appeal to a little guy, lighter guy. And if you don't like the stick that you see here, I'll get you a stick that you like. But they're all good, right? Now, the first thing I learned was the idea of power. This guy just basically said, if you have power, you can stick fight. If you don't have power, you're going to suck. Okay? And so I'm like, power. All right, power. And this guy took this stick, and I mean, he just went, and I was just like, all right, yeah, I don't want to be hit by that. So let me show you that first. You're going to have to warm up a little bit. So get your shoulders going, get your arms going, get your elbows going. All right, usually with the stick, what I do is I do big circles like this. I do some big circles like that. I do some elbows, right, like this. And I do some elbows like that. And by the way, if it's hurting, try left hand. Oh, you left-handed?
I'm both. I can do both.
Try both. Yeah,
Yeah,
try.
right here is fine. I'm just seeing what makes over. Thanks for.
Try some wrist circles like this. This is really helpful to be able to do something like this. All right. And try to go backwards with it too, not just forwards. Alright, so got forward, got backwards. I'll try some like, waist turns. Don't hit anybody. What? Don't hit anybody, but just turn your hips.
Because what are you talking about? Like, I'm literally walking now because I'm coming to you that he came to be in that. You know what you do to fix it.
Alright,
No, I wouldn't.
so your first lesson, alright? And if this is all you learn, we can call it a night. You learn something. Alright? It's something called the caveman. It's like you don't even really have to teach anybody else. The caveman is just this. That's all it is. Just it's an angle that comes from the 1 o'clock position down. Okay? And you just and don't kill yourself right now with it. You can warm up a little bit. You don't have to go real fast, right? But just do me a little favor there. Just go for that a little bit. Use that sound, a little feedback. I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab my stick. Don't hurt yourself, Al. Go smooth. That's all right. All right. Now, what I want you to do is listen for my mouth, okay? And tell me where it is in space.
Up front.
Where would you aim? It's down here. Isn't it down here? The whoop is where you want the power to express. So you don't want to just dive down into your strike. You want to get your strike out. See, you want to get that. You want to get that out there. You want to get that whoop out there. So you get a little feedback from a little sound. Yeah, you see that? Yeah. Yeah. Because it's really easy to just let it dive down and get the whoop down here. Right. Now, normally when you start off learning the caveman, you do it with what's called a regular knee. You put your foot out in front. This is like really just putting your weapon out as far as you can, getting the most from your weapon. But you can do other aspects. For instance, I can put my foot back and do the same thing, right? I can step and do the same thing. I can put my left foot in the back and step and do the same thing. So all those footwork, all that works. All that works. Try experimenting with that. Right foot back, right foot stepping. Yeah.
Right? Let me tell you
cover it. So for instance, you don't want to be like this and then go like that, right? You know what I'm saying? So we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but you would figure this out even if I didn't show you. So when you swing it, that's what my stick does. It kind of comes across my body like this. It's like a little shield for a little bit. And sometimes crazy shit happens in the middle of a fight, and all of a sudden a little like ding, you're like, ooh, I blocked it. And it's not like you tried to block it. It's just this little automatic little, hey, put it there if you can. So I call it the windshield wiper. So it goes, and just windshield wipers across, just like that. See that? Yeah, you just windshield wiper it over. Perfect. That stick's probably a little light for you, Igor.
Well, intentionally, because I like.
Okay. The wet. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you see that? There's a little fancier one too if you want to try. You can try this. Like swing like this. Like swing like that. Like that. But you know what? I wouldn't worry too much about it. If you want to try it, try it. Alright? So that's called the caveman. And I mean, if you just go and you hit somebody with that caveman, you're going to cause some damage. Now, just to make sure that we're doing the caveman right, I want you guys to grab a sword. Or, grab a sword like that. So I have other swords. These here are actually sharp. So be careful with these. And they're a little heavy for really what I'm trying to like teach you guys. Right? It is sharp. So don't go crazy with it. But what I want you guys to do is do your number one with the sword and think about, well, where's the blade? Right? Because like everything that you do with the stick can be done with a blade. So for instance, if I have a knife, right, and I'm slicing with a knife, I wouldn't want to slice like this. That's like a pancake or like spreading butter. Same thing with the sword. So this time what you can do is you can do like a 1, then come back around, do a 2. Do a 1, 2. So it's just a downward X. 1, 2. Yes. 1, 2. 1, 2. Yes. You can feel where the blade is and what the blade's doing, right? Yeah, you don't worry about 2 hands, just 1 hand, right? You feel like that? You feel the slicing? This is one of the, so this is a characteristic of the stick and how the stick moves that's going to be a little different than what they call a whip tick. Like there are whip ticks, and there are things called lob ticks. And if you're gonna slice, you want to be mindful of where the blade is, right? I think you're feeling that, right? So take your stick again, and take your stick and go through that X pattern again, as if it were a sword. Experiment with your power. Experiment with your sound. Experiment with the continuity. Alright? That's right. Can you string it together? Yeah. Can you experiment also with footwork? You can try lead foot. You can try right foot to back. You can try taking big steps. Is the range, right? But most people will just be able to tell, like, oh boy, you know what? I just don't need to get close to that guy, right? So if you look at where I am with Igor right now, right? Like Igor, come on out just for a second. Tell me when I'm close enough to hit you, okay?
No, it's not.
Right there. Okay, so he's getting nervous now. So that's where he's getting nervous, right?
Because it's a simple step and leap.
Yeah, step and leap, but not just a step and leap. Like for instance, if we're out there fighting and I'm swinging, he gets a feel, he gets a sense. He's got an idea of where this bubble is and what this distance is, right? Right? And if I do leap, okay, back up just a little bit, like a little bit, right about there. The best leap I can do is probably about that much right there. You see that right there? Now watch this. All right, tell me, how about with one motion for me, one step for me, when I'm close enough that I can get you. Okay? So you're only going to let me get one step.
Yeah.
Right about there, you're thinking there?
Yeah.
That's about right. And a lot of people don't sense that. For instance, they feel this. Right? They feel that. And all of a sudden the feet change up, right? And they don't realize that. All of a sudden, whoa! A lot of distance can be covered quickly. Alright? So I'm not giving you any blocks or any preparations on the way in, but I want you to experience that too. So what you do is you put your rear foot in the back, right? Actually put your rear foot or your front foot in the front. So feel your bubble, feel your distance, feel what you got, right? How far can you reach, right? And then all you're gonna do, right, is just switch your feet, right? And then take a step. Whoa! Look at all that distance that can be traveled in a quick period of time. So I'm trying to fool my opponent. We're into strategy now. This is martial arts strategy because I see 5 Kung Fu guys here, not just people off the street. Okay? So that's an interesting strategy. So you can go over here, right? You can change your stance up a little bit, and all of a sudden, whoa! Alright, so footwork, really important. Alright, so let's add another powerful shot. Alright? This might even be more powerful. So this one is this. Right there. Be careful you guide to your right. Yeah, be careful with you guide to your right. This thing is a bomb. We call it well, there's a couple names for it. It's called a dodger, and it's also called a number 4. It's called a dodger because my instructor was trying to teach, he was using the Brooklyn Dodgers in conversation, like Brooklyn Dodger, right? Like a baseball player. And my instructor didn't know what the hell he was saying, so he just thought he was calling this a dodger, right? So this right here, this is a backhand, right? By the way, most of your strikes can be described as either forehands or backhands, right? And when you combine your caveman with your dodger, and your dodger with your caveman, you will have enough that you could fight. You could fight. You could literally just go, whoa, 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 and footwork. Whoa, 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 whoa. Right? So don't swing hard, nothing, don't hurt yourself there. Out, right? But just try that. 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4. Yes. 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4. Yeah. Yeah. When that stick starts flying, and all of a sudden you're standing in front of somebody, they see you have power, you're going to get respect right off the bat. Yeah. You can break bones with that kind of stuff right there. See that? 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4.
Is there any difference between 2 daggers and this one?
Which one? Oh, you mean the number 2? Okay, so there is. So the 4 is more powerful, right? I'm much more powerful. I can just load up and wham, right? But if I do a 2 like this downwards, it's not quite as powerful, but it does have an advantage that the other one doesn't. It's a really good question. So for instance, if let's say that I'm going to do my second shot right here, okay? If there's something to destroy, okay, I'll destroy it. But if my opponent is moving, I don't want to do that because if I do that, I've just shot my load. You see that? I could re-engage now, maybe in some other way, right? But if I throw a 2, watch what it does for me mechanically, right? If I throw a 2, can you see how my left part of my body can engage? You can't do that if you just do a dodger. If you do a dodger, you're stuck in space. You see that? So feel that, right? You're stuck in space right here. You're stuck in space. But if you throw a 2, you can throw a punch right behind it. Or if you throw a 2, you can throw a kick right behind it. Right? You see the difference? So I trade off a little power for mobility. So I mean, already, you guys have so many interesting pieces and parts that can keep you busy for weeks. Right? You know what I'm saying? So you know your 1 and your 2. The 1-2 works real good for moving forwards. Like, something else my teacher would say. He would say, test whatever you learn and see if you can do it while running. Because if you can't do it while running, it's probably not going to work, at least in full contact dog brother stick fighting. So you could run doing 1-2s, right? You probably can't run on a dodger, right? Because that's just meant to just kill and destroy on the spot. But a 1-4-1-4-1-1-2. I see what he means by that. Because like when you engage in combat, everything you default to what you really know. All the bullshit stuff on the surface goes away and you just go right to the core of what you are and what you know and what you do. So if you can run, it's a very primitive thing, and it makes you a flexible, dynamic fighter who can adjust and adapt a little bit better than other people who don't know that. So you got the 1, you got the 4. So how about we talk a little bit about defense? But the way I put this and the way I wrote it down was defense, but maybe offense with a question mark exclamation. So you've probably seen this technique right here like this, right? You see it in the stick form in certain places, right? When you go here, 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 right? It's called a roof block, and it is of all the defensive structures, probably the strongest and the most useful and the easiest to get. So the idea behind a roof block is that in the beginning, somebody who might not know and understand, they might say, when somebody goes to hit you in the head, you might do a roof block like that. But in stick fighting, it's such a fast game that reaction will lose to action. Action beats reaction. Action beats reaction. Think about that. All of a sudden, it's just like, and all of a sudden we're fighting, and he attacks me. Oh, and I block. Like, okay, I'm going to be a little lucky if I actually block that. But maybe on the next one, you're hitting me at 4, all of a sudden I got to block that, right? Boom, and then maybe hit me with something else. Oh, I got to block that. It is a game I cannot win. It's too fast. I cannot react that fast. But I'll use a roof block not to react with it, but I'll act with it. How do I do that? I'll show you what I mean. I'll go like this to my partner and like react like fight. Okay, I don't even know you turn around. All right, so we're fighting. All right, like this. See that moment right there? You see what happened? I was pressuring him a little bit like this. All right, see that? Like, come on out for a second. All right? So I'm not doing a circle like this. I'm not fighting you like this. I'm fighting you like this. You see that? Feel that pressure? So all of a sudden, it's like you better do something or something's going to get you, right? And so I know that. So as I put pressure on you, watch what happens. I roof block. You see that? So is that action or reaction? What am I doing? Is this action or reaction, you think? Action. It's action. I am forcing you to do what I want you to do. And if I can force you to do what I want you to do, I'm going to win. Most likely, given everything is equal. Mathematically, if I know in chess what your move's going to be, right? I'm a time traveler, right? So understand the strategy, but now there's something to just the structure. So a fun drill to do is, he does a caveman, not real hard, but he does a caveman, I do a caveman. He does a cave, I do a caveman. We just do the groove back and forth. Don't worry about starting, just stay right there. Yeah. This is a common drill that we'll do, and there's a lot of reasons for it. Let's try it. Let's try it with the partner. Try a little, group block together. All right.
So I noticed that when you were hitting this one, you were sliding back.
I might be going back a little bit. A little bit back there.
It's too close.
Okay.
I'll go through.
So let's look at this again, okay? There's a lot to talk about. One is that, first of all, let me just say, Star Wars, forget it, all right? These, like, stuff like this, let's play Star Wars, ready? That is bullshit, all right? If I was in a class and I saw somebody demonstrating techniques where you stop the stick in mid-air like this, did something like that, I'd raise my hand and say, bullshit. Actually, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't be disrespectful like that. But in my mind, I'd say bullshit because in the heat of a fight, there's just no way. I mean, if you got a guy going, whoa, 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 you're not going to step in there and go, whoosh, right? So, when you throw the number one, throw it like a rock kick. See that? Don't do this. Don't do that. Throw it through like the sword, remember the blade? So I throw it through. Oh, now another thing too. When I throw the stick, I'm throwing it to hit him. I'm not being nice and doing this. This does nothing for him and nothing for me. This is bullshit. Bad habits. So what we do is we slow down a little bit. I go for his head, he goes for my head. With that hit. That's right. That's right. See that? Good. Let's try it again. Yeah, I'm trying to hand it. I want that right hand a little more that way. So you go to block. Right there. See that? Sure. See that again? Dang. That's what you need to do right there. See that? That's all you need. See that? How you gonna do with that? Pretty cool? So this is a drill that, you know what, I would encourage you guys to practice from time to time. And as you get better at it, what happens is your sticks start moving faster, you start gaining a little confidence, because one of the hardest things in like dog brother stick fighting preparedness is the anxiety of getting hit by a stick. And the anxiety of because you know what power is, right? If you hit somebody in the hand, you're going to break their hand with that kind of stuff, right? If you get hit in the head, you're going to be hurt badly, okay? So one way to build confidence is to do a drill like this and then start building up intensity. Build up intensity so eventually, right, you two understand one another. Wham, 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 and you know you're doing it right when you start smelling the wood burning.
Yeah, question. So it's non-stop, but
Oh.
action.
Oh, yeah, hold that structure again. Okay, so right here, this is going to come through there. It's going to go there, right? So what you want is you want an angle, all right? It's and the hand. So I was helping this young man over here earlier. He was a little bit like this, right? And which is a habit you develop from not working with weaponry. Because like usually when something goes through your head, block it like this, right? The problem is I'm going to hit your wrist or your hand or your forearm. You see that? So you have to learn where you know, what you need, where the stick needs to be. Okay? So it's just going to be at an angle like this. That's it. It's just at an angle like that. And so it is a deflection. So your strike comes out and it goes woo out there like that. See that? I don't want to be like this. See what happened? If you did a hard shot right in there, would you just crash through that and kill me? You would, right? So I have to have a little deflection. This takes time. I think you guys understand the structure, right? So my intention was to give you tools, moves, and then start talking strategy. But I already started talking strategy. So one easy way this might work, or maybe not easy, but like it just might come down to it. Like he's got a weapon, you got a weapon, and remember action beats reaction, right? I would rather me be going at him than letting him impose that aggression on me. But if he does impose that aggression on me, I do have options, right? You know in Kung Fu, when we stand there, the idea of drawing him into your plan, right? The idea that he can come to your plan, right? This is the idea of counterattack, counterpunching, not just attacking. So I can talk about another structure, all right? So this is a tool called a Malaya strike. The Malaya strike is just this. You're just doing circle, 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 like that. You see that? Circle, 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 like this. Like this. Just circles like that. All right? And it can be, it's not as powerful as the one. It's not as powerful as the Dodger. But what's nice about this is when you have somebody who goes like this, and they just rush it, they're just coming at you, and they're rushing it, right? If you get somebody who comes at you and rushes you, even though you know how to destroy with power, you might not take it down with 1 or 2 shots. You might need more than that. So you can't rely on just destruction. If you took more training, you would learn lots of more tools and lots of more things. But if I had to just teach you one thing, I would teach you this against a rushing opponent. So if you get somebody who rushes you, right? You boom, 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 and you work the circle. You don't just go backwards, right? Don't do this. Boom, boom, boom. They'll get you. They will get you like this. Not only is there not power, but if his energy is strong and unrelenting, he's going to run you down.
Yeah, this one is just the knife.
With the knife?
Somebody knows the knife and use this one, or use.
So the Malaya strike, this thing right here, interestingly enough, is good for staff work. It's good for short stick work. It's good for knife. It's good for almost anything. Now keep in mind what I'm doing. Somebody's rushing me, and I'm not stepping on my heels and trying to fight with them here, right? I'm trying to be off the path of energy, and I'm trying to deliver fast, clean, quick strikes. And it works. I've been in situations where people have been doing the crashing roof to me, right? I've already taught you what that's like. All of a sudden, whoa, people coming at you, right? That is intimidating. So when all of a sudden they're coming at me, and they're coming at me with this, kicks and knees, you gotta get off the line and slice. Sometimes this is work where you have someone's weapon, and it would be like pulling them along and trying to get them. Or sometimes it even go the other way sometimes. But let's try that. Try that with your partner. Like somebody be the bull, and then the other person, Malaya. It's really just, I don't know what the analogous would be in Kung Fu, but it works.
Well, those involved with like straight blast.
Kind of like a straight blast, but usually
Yeah.
straight blasts are straight, and we're attacking. So this would be like what to do against a straight blast. So just coming off the line. Just coming off the line. And think about it too, like you have a range advantage. And you're hitting quickly, and you're moving off the line. So again, it's a tool. I only got a little bit of time to show you this stuff. So try it. Like just just think of what that's like. So, like, give you a little Malaya going around. So I'm coming at you, I'm coming at you, I'm coming. That's it. Yeah. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's just wop, 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 wop. Try with front partners? Alright, grab your stick. Yeah. Yeah. Because as much as I'm intent on going straight, once you start going off the line, now I gotta reset, right? Yeah. You might be able to hit me with one, you might be able to take my back, you might be able to do anything to me like that, right? Well, when you go that way, you see the difference, right? All of a sudden, I'm on the inside of your body. And it can work, but you don't have an access to that. You just want to like throw a stick in my face and move off the line. Yeah. Ain't that simple? Ain't simple, huh? That's why I decided. So, yeah, like that. Yeah, of course, you'd be lighting them up harder, faster. You know, you'd be really coming at me hard with that. So there's circles, remember? So be careful of like too much wrist stuff. It's whole arm. Alright? Yeah, bam, bam. Yeah, bam. Bam, bam, bam. You like that? Yeah, that's the circle, that's the direction you want to go in. Alright, so when your dad's coming at you, you want to be careful about going over here. Alright, going over here, he can square up on you, right? And he's in his power zone, right? You see like this? But when I'm moving over here, right, and he's attacking, remember he's a bull, he's attacking like a bull, right? Don't you feel like you're getting a little weak over here? It's harder to follow me like that, right? And I'm hitting you while I'm moving over there. See that? So Jared, make sure you're going from the left with the right hand stick. Yeah. So big circles moving to the left. That's it. And yeah, you're not even hitting. You could be hitting. Circle. You got to circle. Hit. No, not your left hand, your right hand. Hey, guess what? See this? Like this. It's like a second wheel. You just go pop, wop, 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 wop. Forward circle, forward circle. That's it. That's it. Now you're doing it. That's it. I didn't plan on this, but you guys do long staff work? You know, you grab a long staff. There's a long staff over there. Go grab a long staff. I wasn't going to do this, but I think you guys kind of like that a lot, you don't you? Doesn't you feel like that work, don't it? So, what I want to show you is it can work with a long staff too. So long staff is not like my thing, all right? I put 98% of my time, maybe 95 because I'm getting double stick a little more nowadays, into the single stick.
They have an experiment in baseball.
Yeah, but this concept of the Malaya stripe works with the staff, so you really got to spread out. So something that I think every Kung Fu student encounters at one point or another with a stick is how do you hit somebody hard and generate power and do it in some way that you can sustain it and not find yourself in these little like one-way streets that you have to back up out of. You know what I mean? Like this will be a one-way street that I gotta back out of. Now I gotta back out. I gotta back out. And I mean, yeah, if I hit somebody with that, I'm gonna kill them. You know, if you were the guy standing in front of me, would you just sort of watch me, time me, and yeah, and usually the guy going boom, boom, boom loses. So what if you have a way to swing this stick with repetitions in a quick, efficient way? We've already learned it, okay? You learn the Malaya, right? It's like this, right? So what you do is you take the stick like that. See that? You guys see that? Yeah. Yeah. It's not intuitive because most of us want to swing like a baseball bat. It's like you're holding it like this and you just want to swing it down there. But if you swing it down there, watch what happens. Your arms cross up. You see that? See how the arms cross up? And then you can hit back, but it's a weak shot. Right? So by doing the Malayu, boom, 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 you have a way of hitting in a continuous fashion and not having to back up. And that alone is worth pulling out this long staff to show you. Right? You see that?
It's always been the thought is you got to replace it.
Cross the arms.
You have to get out.
Yeah. And so my teacher taught me the Malayu with the long staff, not with the short stick. It was only his ingenuity and his creativeness that said, you know what? And he only visited this teacher for a day. He went to the Philippines, he found himself and learned all that he could in a day. So when he left, he never asked, can I do it with the short stick? And he just said, well, let's find out. And he found out it worked. You see that? So, do you guys want to dive a little bit into a combat strategy? Like what I've shown you so far can be for self-defense, can it? I mean, like you could use an umbrella, you could use anything for that matter, but you have to be careful about what you choose in your environment. I mean, a newspaper, maybe, right? But it's not going to like hurt and destroy. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about like what would you do as a Kung Fu warrior against a Kung Fu warrior and how you might fight a little bit? All right. So let's go back to the single stick again. This is going to have implications with sword fighting, long staff work, and it's going to open your mind to a lot of interesting possibilities. Okay? So, everything that we've been talking about so far has been what and how can I use this stick to hurt and destroy people that charge me? How can I hit hard and hurt them? We talked a little bit about pressure with the roof block, although that's a little more advanced. Now we're talking about fighting somebody who's skilled, who knows what we know. All right? That's a different situation, right? Because like you have to assume they know what I know, so I be careful. So for me to teach you this strategy, I need to show you a pattern. So what I want you to do is learn this motion right here like this. See this motion here like this? Now it's not really easy to learn in the beginning, but it's there, right? It's a wheel. See that? It's a wheel. My arm is doing it, but my wrist breaks at the very last second. See the wrist breaking right at the last second? Boom, 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 boom. Yes. Remember I told you guys earlier that sticks can be thrown either forehand or backhand? Which one's this? It's a backhand, right? So remember that. Because sometimes what you'll do is you'll switch to a forehand strike and you'll forget. Like you go like this. You'll go like this. That's a forehand, right? So make sure it's a backhand. Okay? That's a backhand. Alright, now this is going to be the hardest tactic I've shown you so far coming up. This one is going to be a forehand on the other side. Don't worry about looking for power right now. Just get the motion. One of the hardest things for you right now is going to be like teaching your wrist, like having wrist flexibility. Don't you feel uncomfortable with the wrist? You get better at it. But unfortunately, there's no substitute for just swinging the stick. You just got to swing the stick full. Yeah, now, when I first learned short staff and come through, I used to open my hand like this. Right? It'll work to make it look flashy for the crowd, but in combat, that's a fatal error. Because when sticks start hitting and shit starts flying and things are going like hard, if you have a tenuous or if you have a weak grip, you're going to lose your weapon. And if you lose your weapon, you die. So you have to, I should have said this at the beginning, everything that you do has to have a grip on that stick, but it can't be like a death grip. And it's not a little weak pussy grip. It's a good grip, right? And that means your wrist has to make up for the flexibility issues, right? So I've shown you this one on this side, this one on this side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put it together, and I want you to imagine a letter H, a big capital letter H, okay? So here's the left side of the H, and there's the middle of the H. There's the right side of the H, and I'm coming back to the middle of the H. See that? Right? Left side of the H, middle, right side of the H, middle. This certainly goes right into Kung Fu mentality. Because when the teacher shows you something that says, practice, this is definitely one of those things where if you just did hundreds of them, you would attain skill. You could actually come out and start whooping some ass by just practicing this and that. Come through, I'm going to do 1,000 times mentality, right? It's going to be possible really to get like perfect at this, like acclimated to this in one night.
You know what I would suggest? Replacing that sim in the form
Absolutely.
of this one.
This thing is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This is no value at all. I mean,
I gotta call you out on that one sometimes, since you said that.
uh,
It's not meant for, this is not meant for one-on-one, this is meant in case the two of you guys are coming after me, and I'm just trying to keep you away, just trying to keep you guys away from me, that's why I set myself up. That's what this is coming from.
the way I look at it is, you're spitting at your wrist. I don't see anything that's going to hurt me bad. I see something that might hit me, but it doesn't look like that. So if I see somebody like fiddling around, I might just rush. So, but if that were a sword, I'd have to think twice. You know? All I'm saying is, like, let me just say this too. And I'm not saying that, you know, I mean, you're wrong or anything like that. What I'm saying is, if you put on gear, and I did that today actually. I had a guy in here, we were practicing, I put him in riding gear. I put him in riding gear, right? For me. Not for him. Of course I did for him too. And we went at it. That's where you need to test that. You need to get yourself somebody, you need to put on the gear so you don't get all messed up. And you need to test that structure. And remember what my teacher said. You should be able to do it running, right? If you can't do it running, ask yourself, well, shoot, you know? So look, let's get into the strategy, all right? So the strategy is going to be this. So I'm coming at you like that, all right? And I noticed Harry reacted. He kind of put his stick up. That's reasonable. Isn't that a reasonable reaction? So maybe I'll do it again. And he puts that stick up, right? So I'll do it again, right? I'll put a reaction, and I'll come down for his hand. You see me go for his hand? I didn't hit you in your hand. But you see me go for the hand? So slow motion, right? Just to understand what I'm talking about. I get a reaction, and I need to go wham on that hand. I want to hit that hand. And what's fun and interesting, and why I chose to teach you this strategy, is because you can fight people on the outside and not have to worry about going in and messing with all that. Because there is a lot to learn about going in tight on somebody. You know, maybe they know jiu-jitsu, maybe they're a wrestler, maybe they're bigger, maybe they're stronger. But if you can win on the outside, if you can kill the hand, you're going to win the fight. You know what I'm saying? So this is smart. And I really like fighting like this. I'll test you on the outside first. Even though I love rushing, right? I love rushing. I love pressure, but I'm going to get you on the outside first. So feel it come out. Boom, pow. Boom, pow. See how that works? Boom, pow.
Look at the knife.
You do it with swords, you do it with long staffs, you do it with that. Yes. All right. So I don't know if you want to like delve into this and train this, or if you just want me to keep talking. I'll talk a little bit, so maybe you guys can bring this out later.
Yeah.
All right. So the other one. So remember, I showed you the boom. That's the follow-up. So if you do hit the hand, don't follow up, just like anything else, like any combination that you learn, maybe double block, all right, kick, punch, or maybe double block, wheel hand, front sweep, like put things together, string combinations together. So that's what I'm doing there. I'm stringing it together, boom, boom, boom. Okay? Now there's the other side of the H, right? The other side of the H is right there. Alright, so I'm throwing some forehands. Alright, I'm throwing some forehands. So when I throw a forehand, right, like this, boom, I'm going for the hand. See that? Now he's reacting to me with a roof block, but most people, without really much training, are probably going to throw something called a wall block now. Alright, it's defense now. So this is called a wall block. And there is something to that. There is something to like wall blocking. But I don't use wall blocking for reaction. I use it for action. I'm getting ahead of myself. This is starting to be like I'm like a fire hose out. So what I'll do is I'll put pressure on something. Pressure, and eventually, right? Like they're going to lash out. Right? They're probably going to lash out. When they lash out, I wall block. Right? You stop short. I want you to actually swing it. Right? Boom! You see what I just did there? I got him to give me what I wanted. I did a little wall block and I got him. That's counterattack, right? That's action meeting reaction. I don't want to go, although sometimes that happens. So you know the whole pattern now, right? You know a jab, backhand, right? And you know forehand, forehand. All right, see that? Backhand, or a jab, backhand, forehand, forehand. There's names for them, but if I tell you, you're not going to remember anyway. One way you guys might remember is this tire here. I built this specifically for this combination. So I go like this. I love this thing. So I go. See, sir, let's go there. And I don't even need, imagine, we're just talking now, right? I don't even need a connection. I don't even need him to connect. Like, once you get good at this, you can just go. You get a reaction. You almost be like this. Right? It's called the punches coming at you, right? Boom, but the kick is coming at you. Right? Or it might be like, here's the kick, and there's a punch. Right? In Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, they call that progressive indirect attacks. Where you go in a certain line, and then you change the line. Does that make sense to you guys? Alright. I mean, you guys have any questions about anything?
Oh, yeah, the only thing I have a problem, I kind of said about it, but since it's so first class, one of our functions of the problem that we're not going to come to here. I mean, that's very cool, I think they're going to practice it. But this is kind of underlying assumption, number one. Number two, if you have thoughts further about what was it defined, like wrap around you, tie an umbrella, it would be the stick, because this stick is designed, it's balanced by weight.
Come on over to this table for a second. One of these weapons is in my car full time. Can you figure which one it is? Yeah. And there's another one that's in my car full time, but it's not on tape.
Because I got our cars.
Right there. This is I had to become a black belt just by ordering on Amazon. So, like, obviously, I'd like to have a gun. I do have a gun, but I do have a gun. It's just like I'll go to jail if I carry my car and shoot somebody, even if I'm in the right. I'm not allowed to carry a gun in my car without, a permit. So, and knowing me, if all of a sudden 4 teenagers jump out of the car and are coming at me, and I have a gun in my car, I'm gonna pull the gun out. You know what I mean? And then of course I'm gonna be on CNN getting in trouble, right? So I just do the best that I can with what I have that's legal. And this is not just your ordinary pepper spray. I did some research on pepper spray products, and it led me to Fox brand, which is really reputable. It's somewhat expensive, and they have different cocktails. And there are 2 cocktails in particular that are, really highly rated, and I bought them both.
Is just because of the mixture of chemistry, or it's also good to the handle?
I think it's for the scone rating. I think it is, or the intensity rating, and maybe I don't know. But I was looking for what's gonna hurt somebody the most. I wanted something that was like put you down. Something you tell your kids, and your grandkids about, like how miserable it was, and that's what I landed on. All right, and then this collapsible baton is a really nice one. It's made by a company called Asp, who make really, I think, the best collapsible batons. I mean, put that in your hand and feel that thing. If you hit somebody in the forearm, can you tell what's going to happen? Actually, you'll put a hole in my bag. Unless you hit it with this part. You can hit it with this part, just don't hit it with the end part.
It'll shatter.
And don't hit the mirror. Yeah, feel this thing.
Nancy Kerrigan made that famous.
It'll break a bone. It'll kill somebody you hit them in the head with that. And that thing is within reaching distance of me in my car.
Sure.
Yep.
And that pepper spray is within reaching distance as well.
Right.
That thing is bad. I think badass.
I've got one on each side. I've got one on the passenger side and the driver's side. We've done both too.
And we didn't really cover knives or do anything with knives.
No, this is a separate lesson.
Yeah.
Today was a stick. That's the
Yeah,
last one.
I do like knives.
Yeah.
I love the whole idea of knives. But I want to ask you guys a question too. So you've learned a little bit about the stick today. You've seen some strategies. I've shown you some, interesting science behind it. In a fight, who would you put your bet on? The guy with the stick or the guy with the knife?
Knife.
Well, the common wisdom is the stick.
Do you have an opinion on that? Stick?
Had knife.
Knife? Knife?
I'll go with the stick.
That's it.
It's not a trick question. It's just opinion.
It's not a trick question. When I started learning this kind of stuff that I was teaching you guys today, I was like, stick is amazing, stick is amazing. And then my teacher started getting a little bit into the knife. And I realized that when you have somebody rushing you, if you don't have an answer for that, yeah, you might hit him good. You might break his arm. You might crack his skull. But if he gets to you, you're dead.
Yeah.
If you've never seen pictures of human cadavers who have been cut by knives, it is unbelievable. It is like caverns of flesh just are ripped open all over the body, like it was a shark attack or something, right? And I was like, and a lot of times when you hear knife stories, people will tell you they didn't even know they were stabbed during the encounter, and then all of a sudden they're walking and then they drop. And so if you don't even know you're being stabbed, you could be making some bad decisions. My advice is, if you are encountered by somebody with a knife, get out of there. Do not mess around. I mean, unless you have a gun. I mean, if you have no choice, then you got to do what you got to do. But in the style that I'm learning from, when they talk about knife and they teach knife, it's all about how to die less often. It's not self-defense. The things they show you are just how to die less often.
Well, it is self-defense. Like all those situations, self-defense. You're just trying to get your chances.
Against two highly skilled knife fighters, the consensus is they're both going to die. Somebody with high skill against somebody with no skill, this guy is probably going to win. But if you're up against a knife and you don't have a knife, you better be careful. All All right, a stick can give you range advantage, but of all the things that I showed you today, that Malayo might be what you need to live, right? Until you can run, or until you can yell, or until help comes. I mean, unless you are a practiced stick fighter, and you know how to tap and touch and work for the hand and keep the distance, you know, if you're relying on one good shot.
This is Chinese video from police, how to fight the knife attack. I
Is it
should
stuff like
send it
this?
to you. No, they showed like a guy, policeman stands like this, guys do knives like this, and next you see police run away. Help, police!
Yeah, I used to, before I learned this, fight in Aaron's class and fight around with some people where he has a knife and I have a knife, and we stand there like this, we just try to stab, we try to like beat each other to the stab, right? Touch and slice the wrists, maybe get behind, get him in the body, and we used to fight like honorable gentlemen, right? Like swashbucklers. And then my teacher taught me, he started teaching me some tactics that had nothing to do with that. Where what they do is they sit back here like this with a knife like this, and they use this hand to disrupt you for the opportunity. And so there is no, you can't kick, you can't hit, you can't strike, you can't act upon that hand. I remember the first time I saw that concept, I was a kid reading the Tao of the Jeet Kune Do. You know, Bruce Lee's Tao, Jeet Kune Do? And he has this stance like this. Right? You ever seen that? You ever seen the pictures?
It's Tai Chi stance, essentially.
Yeah, it's a stance
It's Tai
like
Chi.
this. And in traditional Tian Shan Pai, our stance was like this, right? And if you think about all the techniques we learned, high-low, wheel hand, double block, front sweep, back sweep, it all included some kind of touch on a lead hand, right? Didn't it? It always had something to do with this. So Bruce Lee said, well, take it away. Don't give that guy a lead hand to work with.
This is Tai Chi stance.
And being like a young kid at the time, I was like, well, that makes sense. You know, it makes sense. So,
What about the guard? Just asking. What about the guards to like protect as a?
well, I have to say that my teacher in Kung Fu was really good at that lead hand, but what he did was he used it like a whisker of a cat. And he could use it to feel his way into where the weakness was. You know what I'm saying? And like today, do you remember when I was like doing a little circle around you, and I was like, it's called a spiral, actually. The spiral is where I converge on the end. I'm trying to chip away at you right here. You see, you feel uncomfortable right here, right? Don't you feel uncomfortable? You don't want to be there. You want to be like there, right, homie, right? You don't want to be here, right? So, oh shit, what was that? I lost my train of thinking. The lead hand, yeah. So the lead hand, he used it to put pressure. So he would walk to you, and all of a sudden it's like you either do something or you don't, and you die. So normally what you do is you meet him, and that's what he wanted. He wanted this, so you could feel the pressure, and then he would just dominate you. All right, and he was just really good. He was like I looked at him like he was like a big polar bear who had long arms, a lot of energy, a lot of power, strong, fast.
Big hands.
Yeah.
Big wrists.
Yeah. He did go up against a fighter named Dana Rucker, who I got to fight first, and I got beat up real bad. And Dana Rucker beat him, but he beat him because this guy Dana Rucker didn't play that game. He had a sidekick that was phenomenal. He had a jab that was phenomenal. He didn't give you something to work on. He would hit you from the outside and not let my teacher like get in there. So, you know, a good martial artist has to be adaptable. You have to adapt to a situation. Maybe some of what you learned today will help you adapt some things in some way. Maybe you can improve upon them. I did go off tangent only because you guys have martial arts experience. But I pretty much showed you everything.
The only thing I was going to say to you when you were saying like a guy who has no skills against a guy who has skills. This is where I learned a lesson on. I don't underestimate anybody because I got a story to tell you. This is 8 years ago. Someone was murdered
It's
in
awesome.
my work area because apparently they were a floor cleaning crew and they got in an argument with each other. And one guy took a knife, came up from behind, and just stabbed him. And the only reason why I'm explaining this to you right now, because I think it was like the day before that happened. The guy that was killed, he found out what I was. I took martial arts. He was showing me his boxing and jiu-jitsu lessons, like you need like that, and, yeah, whatever. And then the next day, he got killed.
Oh, he got
That's
killed.
that.
Jeez.
A person with those skills, they're the ones that you got to be aware of because they go wild. And that was,
Well, it's not a skill to get from behind and stick it with the knife.
well, it is if you're an assassin.
So, I mean, this is unfortunately how a lot of stuff happens. You don't see it coming. But this is a very different situation. Like, if you talk about the prisons, they'll try to stab you when you don't even look for it.
Yeah, they know how to fight with a knife in prison. They're really good at it. You know, I would have loved to talk to you guys today about the triangle stepping, you know, from Tien Shan Pai. And, you know, I remember when I was younger and I was learning that, I just thought that's just Tien Shan Pai, right? And I remember seeing an article that said, Tien Shan Pai, the art of the lost step. As if everybody else forgot this. Well, 35 years later now, I have to tell you, this is all over the place, right? It's all over the world. You just have to know where to look and who to ask.
Well, we can stay in Tai Chi. This is what we do all the time in this form.
Yeah, and some people have different things to contribute to it, but it would be fun to maybe come back at some point. If for any reason you take to any of these moves I gave you today and you really like them, you have more questions about them, footwork is a topic I love. I really like. Footwork for me is the best defense.
I got a question for you, okay? And I'm going to use myself as an example. Obviously, I'm not. He's on one end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I'm on the other.
Yeah.
Young, a lot of energy.
Yeah.
A lot of bounce.
How you take the young bull down?
Me, on the other side.
Yeah.
I have like, I don't have the energy I used to have when I was 40 years old.
Yeah.
For other reasons, okay?
Yeah.
So moving, for me,
Yeah.
every move, every step that I take has to have a purpose.
Yeah.
I can't, if I were to match him step for step for step, I would be gassed. I would run out of gas well beforehand. So I guess the hypothetical question coming up is, what you showed us a lot, and there is a lot of moving with this, have you come across or have you seen a situation where there's not as much movement?
Yeah. I can show you something where there's like
You see what I'm
maybe
saying?
this much movement. All right. So and I already talked about this earlier today.
I'll come back and visit that with you at a later date.
Yeah.
But I was just curious.
I totally hear what you're saying. So you're right. So I was talking today and giving moves as if you guys were 25 years old and able to do and move efficiently and without pain and quickly and all that and everything. But there was something I showed you earlier that had to do with the spiral, right? And getting on that corner, right? Well, a more simplified version of that is literally just standing like this. And just fighting like this. And there's a name for that.
Why do you hold the arms against your body rather than
So
distance?
the reason why you hold this arm against the body is so that it's not a target. If I see that you're standing there and this hand's just floating out here like this, I'll try to nip it. I'll try to nip it. So I take a target out of the equation so you can't aim at it. But not only that too, when it comes to following up, it's in a great place to do things. So so I can punch from here, I can wedge block from here, I can do a lot of interesting things from right here, right? And I honestly, I can't really think of any other place that it can be where it is as versatile as here. I mean, I'm not going to hold it up like this for sure you're going to hit it, right? You know what I'm saying? So this is a truth in traditional and modern day stick fighting. So they call it the live hand. They keep the live hand here. So what you do is you just stand here like this with your weapon down like this, and basically whatever the young buck has for you, right? Your techniques are all going to look like this. You're going to basically here and then a whole bunch of stuff. You get one. You can punch. You can kick.
Yeah, so movement, so what you're showing me now, that movement is not a necessity.
It's not a necessity. It's ideal in terms of getting on his corner and making him uncomfortable and getting a little jump on him. So it does give me an advantage. But the guy, my teacher's classmate, his nickname was Salty Dog. So in Dog Brother Martial Arts, they give you a nickname. I don't have a nickname yet because I'm still working on it. But his nickname was Salty Dog. And his whole strategy was fighting like this. And my teacher would do it too sometimes. So what would happen is you get this fighter out there and he'd be going like this, and going like this, and looking all scary. And my teacher would just go like this. And wait. And think about that for a second. This relates almost to the same idea of the handout, right? If there's all these systems and all these strategies that require a hand, there's probably systems and strategies too that require a lead hand and a stick and movement. But if you just look at somebody and you just go, all right, come on, right? It can almost like psych people out. Like, whoa, what? Huh?
That would be me.
Yeah. It's called the Salty Dog. So I talked about tactics, right? I talked about strategies, but there's also games. Games are a little more complicated strategy that's built upon like a certain way of fighting, right? So the Salty Dog strategy is a calm roof block attack. If you have flexibility and movement, and you can work the angle and the spiral, same idea. There are other kinds of strategies too, like there's something called the happy puppy. I'm just talking a little bit right now. So the happy puppy is when your hand just goes like this. So, like, tell me, yell now when you think I'm going to hit this bag. All right, ready?
Now.
It's pretty easy, ain't it? All right, try it now.
Now.
Now, so
Yeah, man.
You get the point?
Yep.
That's important too, because if you face somebody who's just standing like this, you murder them. Attack the hand,
Yep.
get him to react to something,
Yep.
right? You know what I'm saying? There's all kinds of strategies. There's a strategy where they do a clock, like this, and they work in the other way. I like to do salty. Salty is part of what I like. I really like it, but I also go the other way, okay? So if you go the other way, salty doesn't work. You see that? So if I go this way, you see how that doesn't work?
Yeah.
Can you just tell? Like if that's my opponent like this, like I'm vulnerable. It's almost like I'm giving them my angle, right? Salty works much better like this, like that, right? So if I go the other way, I like to do something called the clock. And the interesting thing about the clock is that you can attack from any angle with, pretty much you can attack from any angle, okay? With Happy Puppy, right, what are my options? How can I attack from here, right? I have this, I have this, I have this, I might have a little of this, I might have a little of this, but I definitely don't have this, or this, or this, right? If I do a clock, I can do anything I can do anything. I can go whoop, I can go whoop, I can go whoop, whoop, I can do anything. Whoop. Isn't that interesting? Yep. The trade-off is power. So I won't be able to, from a clock, hit you like I could, like that, all right? Like that. I can't do that from the clock. But how hard do you really need to hit somebody anyway, right? Especially if you have a strategy. So for instance, if my strategy, right? You know this whole idea we talk about, I want to hold the stick, I want a connection, Well, I want a connection here, okay? And so the connection that I'm looking for is that right there, all right? For you to oblige me, right? See that? If I can get somebody to oblige me, right? No, you didn't oblige me, you would have gotten hit right there, all right? You just oblige me. Say, oh man, all right, oh ha, like that, yeah. Oh ha, no, not like that. You can hit your hand. Just keep obliging me. Right? Like you know, like don't make it hard on me right now, right? You just obliging me, right? So I've established a theory that you're probably going to do that again, right? So if I can establish a theory and get you to oblige me, boom. See, right? If I can establish a theory and get you to hit me, boom. See what I'm saying? And the clock, does it have to be real powerful to get the connection? No. It doesn't. It just has to be quick. It has to be able to get where it needs to get. And it shouldn't look like this. Ready? Watch this. It shouldn't look like this. See that? You saw that coming, right? You see that? Right. You see that coming. It's like, oh, you know that's coming. You're going to win. But if I can keep a clock going smooth and just hit you, see? Smooth and fast will beat, what's the term? Smooth is fast and fast is slow or something like that. Yeah. It's like the gunfighter one. Boom! Versus the guy just goes, boom. All right? You know what I'm saying? And I could talk more and more about games. Games are fun. Games are really fun. I'll tell you one more because it's about 8 o'clock. I love this one. This one is called the kalimba. And the idea behind the kalimba is I want a connection. All right? I want a connection. And it doesn't have to be a hard connection, but usually when I get a connection, I want to know ahead of time that you're going to give it to me. Okay? So I'll test you. Right? And it's like, damn, all right, awesome. I love that, right? And so part of the problem with stick fighting is crossing the distance, not getting hit. That's a scary thing. So watch this strategy, all right? This strategy looks like this. Like this. Now, Jared's just freezing for me, right? But look at what I'm doing. Do you see what I'm doing? That's not going to hurt nobody, right? That's not going to hurt anybody. But what this is it's like a cone. It's like a force field. It's a little cone where if my eyes were closed, I could almost feel secure in there that he's not going to hurt me with anything crazy. And I'm putting pressure on him, and I'm working on his corner. And then, of course, once I see the advantage, I unleash. Isn't that cool? It's a little force field. It's literally like force field. Right? See that? Isn't that cool? And there's a lot of other little support techniques that work along and with that game. It's called the kalimba. And you can do the same thing with the long staff. So we're way ahead of and beyond stick self-defense in this conversation.
And I recorded some of it, so if you want video.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share with you guys that it wasn't like what I've been doing is not just hitting fast and hitting hard and developing just patterns. There's an intelligence to it. You know, there's strategy to it. And of course, knowing me, I ask myself, how does this relate to everything else that I've seen? And how can it improve things that I've done? And how can things that I've done improve things that I'm now learning? And I was constantly adding that to my teacher. I was offering information to him that he didn't know. He was like, wow, that's amazing, with jiu-jitsu and judo and kung fu and everything else. Last thing, wheel hand. You know wheel hand? Mm-hmm. Wheel hand is a big part of stick fighting for me. Oh yeah, and I use it with the clock. So remember one of you guys asked me about the 4 versus the 2? Well, here's where the wheel hand will come in. So what I'll do is I'll look for a connection, right? I'll look for a connection, right here, and I'll come in, boom. That's a powerful punch. That you guys know that, right? You know how wheel hand is powerful, right?
Yeah.
Wheel hand is really powerful, and the kalimba, it can work off the kalimba too, so I can get a connection. Boom, kalimba, 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 kalimba. Boom, wheel hand. And he had his version of wheel hand. He didn't call it wheel hand, but his wasn't as good as ours. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me.
Well, thank you, Gary.
Yep.
Thank you.